Walk the Squawk.
Welcome to episode 6 of Walk the Squawk. I always forget. I wanted to say Prophecy Walkers. We are talking about vibration today and the comedy of tragedy.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it's tragic what the world's going through at the moment. The fact that
Yeah.
people aren't in their hearts and they're stuck in their minds. So it's just making this incredible point to Hazel before she started fiddling with the candle.
And then we had to start over again.
that being psychic is about feeling. It's not about the mind. Psych, if you read anything to do psychology, if you read any psychology, you'll know the story of psych. Psych means soul. Soul is love. Psychology is about the study of the soul inwards. But we're led out of our bodies through dogma, and this has been showing itself through collective attacks at the moment, through sending a space of Barbies up into space to sabotage the feminine rising, and the death of the Pope. And dogma is nothing to do with religion. It's about belief, about divine belief, true divine faith. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe you're a divine being, or do you believe that divinity is outside of you, a God in the sky? That's what we're led to believe. And this is what they've done. They've turned everything inside out, upside down, back to front. Psychology is not the study of the mind. It should be the study of the soul. And psychology was stolen by shamanism. So I'm getting right in there right at the beginning to set the theme here for how there's a lack of vibration. People aren't able to feel this level of vibration that we have achieved, which we find really difficult to communicate. I mean, the ceremonial videos alone are enough to, I don't understand why people haven't. I don't understand that.
It's all about vibration, and this is what I said in my awakening video, my
Right,
first
yeah.
coming out video, is that we look like normal people.
That's it.
And it's all a matter of vibration. And what I received from putting that video out, I received a lot of beautiful comments saying, I hear you, I can hear you, I can feel you on a different level.
Yeah.
And that's what all of this is about, because, well, there's so much to talk about. Let's just see what wants to come out today.
I just want to point out as well that those are comments you had are mostly women, 99% women.
Yeah.
Because women are greater at feeling because they're more in their heart.
Yeah, and this is what this is that the divine correction of order comes with the rising feminine first. We saw this when we started working together right at the beginning, 4.5 years ago. I said it's the women that come first. Now, almost everything that we could say could be interpreted at a lower dimensional place.
Logically
and rationally,
yeah.
And that's when, you get into psychological fights, let's say, about who's right and who's wrong. And this is what we have broken apart and burst through and realized, actually, like you said, it's all in opposite, which means almost everything that you say,
upside down, inside out, back to front,
can feel like a low vibrational thing. But actually, when we're speaking from the perspective that we are talking from a completely different perspective, like a new earth perspective, ninth dimensional perspective, etc. But if you're not feeling it as the same words are coming out, like if you're receiving it logically or just as words, then there's an issue. And this is part of what this issue is about.
Just want to explain to people what you mean by ninth dimensional. So it's not logical, it's multidimensional. There are 18 chakras, and the middle chakra is number 9, and it's the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Capiche?
Yeah.
Capoich?
Yeah. So where do you want to go with that?
I want to go into our awakenings. So you just did a video on your awakening, right? Which I think was probably your best video, really eloquent, amazing, on your private channel. And I'm slowly, my awakening's been different to you because it's happened in stages, but yours happened like this huge, massive wabam. It was like a dragon landed on Earth, and there was this massive quake. It's really fantastic that I was able to watch that happen, and it looked really painful. It looked like you were birthing yourself through a dimensional portal. It was incredible. I saw like your front side of you here and your back side like coming through the other side. It was really remarkable. And then when you came through, you started speaking this deep innate language which sounded like some kind of ancient Spanish, and you were speaking it, bearing in mind Hazel only speaks English and French. She started speaking this fluently to me, and I was like, "Whoa, what the hell!" And you shapeshift all the colors of your clothes change. You were all of a sudden wearing all black, and you were grieving, and your hair changed and your face changed. And this is the kind of stuff you only see in movies, but this is, if you we speak about this a lot, the innate. We learned this off Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon, when Cryon spoke about the 12 layers of DNA, which he calls the innate or the smart body. And we introduced that when we met into our ceremonies, and we unlocked it, and we started to embody and integrate it, and we still are. It's enormous. And Hazel came in with a big chunk of her innate, huge chunk, and it's quite frightening at first, right?
Well, it's absolutely terrifying. First of all, it feels really at home. It's like you land in yourself. It's this walk in, this part of your soul that you perhaps have not had contact with for many lifetimes. That is this massive walk in part. And it connects. You spoke about this other language, and you also spoke about in this introduction the speaking through vibration and speaking through the vibration of the heart. And even I would say this goes deeper. It goes through the deep heart and connects into the solar energy, this solar awakening, which is what is happening now. So with the ignition of the pure solar connection that illuminates the heart, this is where I speak from. And I didn't realize, it's taken us several years to realize that this is how I speak. And when I speak to people, I speak to your soul. And this was also why we realized only a few months ago, I was like, why are people getting triggered by me? Like, why does nobody understand? Like, that's what it feels like at times. But this is because when you are speaking to somebody's soul, if their vessel is not clear enough from their trauma yet, they will trigger really hidden parts of the ego that wants to be right or wrong or be righteous. And so then you enter back down into that lower vibrational part of right and wrong. And this is where a lot of people fall away. So
all of this,
when the innate comes in, it's first of all incredibly enlightening. And you have to sacrifice of really it's a massive death, let's say. This is like the kind of prophetic ego deaths that you hear being spoken about. And then waking up in that and actually realizing, oh, I'm changed forever. How am I going to integrate that? Because people will think that I'm still the same, but I'm not. and that takes quite some integrating.
Yeah.
It's a real soul shift.
Yeah.
It's a real awakening. But to the outside world, and particularly because we've got such a huge saturation on toxicity and lies, even in the spiritual communities, it's just not recognized. But I do believe that there are people recognizing it, because there's a lot of awakening happening right now.
Yeah, and I find it really interesting about what you say about not being recognized, and I think I find it's saddest when it happens with family, when your family don't see that you've changed, because they try to unconsciously keep you as that safe person that they loved, or that person that they like to control. And I know you're doing that course on the black sheep, and we've both been black sheep because we chose love. And families often, not all families, but a lot of families, if they've been through a lot of trauma or divorce, like our families have, they get stuck in that shame and they become stagnant. And so they hold the same vibration. And to get away from that vibration, we have to grow and prove ourselves to ourselves. But it's so difficult when you're growing in vibration and people don't feel that you have to separate yourself from that vibration. Otherwise, you can't grow. And I've found that really tough to let people go. But it's the only way, because by doing that, you're actually giving them the space and the mirror to grow. Because we talk about the scapegoats and the black sheep, and the scapegoat is, there's always one in a family. I've been my family's scapegoat, where when everything goes to poo, there needs to be someone to dump their crap on, right?
Yeah, and this is really allowing. It's not only space to grow, is that you actually have to come out of that physical situation in your old life to have space to grow. But to go beyond that is even greater, because one of the issues is like, you don't just say, right, I'm never going to see these people anymore. One of the issues is that when you're broken open into love, you actually love them more than you've ever done before, because you can see them from a whole different perspective. So it kind of is a freaking paradox, and it's really hard, because it's like, wow, I can see the love in everybody, and I can see all the family dynamics. I can see all the dynamics that I've had in everyone who's ever bullied me, or like, I can see all the dynamics in the narcissistic abusive marriages I've been through. Oh my God, and what am I going to do now? Goodness me. Well, if I decide to be bitter, or if I decide to fight in that game, it means that I am playing the old game, and I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning about faith, vibration and dogma. You can't have vibration if there's dogma in your life, and the whole world has been hijacked by dogma. This is how the matrix works. It teaches you to deny your own divinity.
Yeah.
And that results not only in dogma, but it results in unrequited love. And this is why there is separation. This is why people have trouble in relationships. That's why there's war. And we have been doing a lot of work on that. And I recently it had a profound experience where I turned my outside in and my inside out. And this is part of integration. It's about, when you have a divine experience, or an ascension, or a walk in, or just some profound spiritual experience, for example, you have to integrate that by bringing it from the inside to the outside. And the only way you can do that is through creation. And I've been having this ongoing thing where since I met Hazel, about channeling spirit. And I realized that I was focusing on spirit outside of me instead of internally. And so when I flipped that around, I realized that I was being ignorant, and it was the antidote to ignorance. And ignorance is about turning a blind eye. This is the animal wisdom of the stag. This is what my channel's about. It's about divine leadership. And the shadow of the stag is misleadership and stagnation. And these are the and ignorance. What do you call a deer with no eyes? No idea, right? So it's about turning a blind eye, and Pan represents the stag, and Pan writes about that. He said the biggest sin of mankind is ignorance, turning a blind eye to love.
Yeah.
And this is what people are doing, but it's not just turning a blind eye. They're turning their whole they're turning their ears away as well.
Yeah. So they can't hear it.
Yeah.
and because there's so many layers of and this goes across the board, there's so many layers of digging humanity into this bottomless pit of hell, let's say, is that nobody recognizes each other anymore through the eyes of love or the vibration of love. And you see this. This is why people are not able to help each other, or there's conditions. But I mean, and I know the world is turning now because of this global awakening, and I know that there is going to be lots of people out there who really feel this, but there's still a lot of equalizing to happen, let's say, so that people do recognize other people in their soul vibration that goes beyond, oh yeah, let's just create a new earth community. Like, that is pretty much most of the time, that is an idealism that is based on an idea that's still stuck in the old paradigm.
Yeah.
So it won't work.
Yeah, it really is false. It's essentially trying to recreate what came before, but that's not what the new prophecy, the new paradigm's about. It's about creating something completely new where we're all rewarded, we all live in abundance,
Yeah.
and we don't have to live in communes where we, do you know what I mean? That old idea of spiritual bypass.
Yeah, and in a fake system where it's still like, well, these are the people who started it, so they own it. Like, it, you will see as things start to shift, and you will feel it, that there's a true divine order of soul coding that gets reinstated in and through people. And it has nothing to do with power over. It has nothing to do with how well you did your job up until today. Like, all of that goes out the window. And this is where most people, let's say, I mean, who's going to be forced to their knees? Well, that's going to be pretty interesting to watch, you know, because there's lots of change of things happening. There's not only the old leadership system that's happening with our governments is cracking and falling open, but the lower levels or the higher levels, depending on where you're looking at in the turning of the tables of the triangles, is leadership in places of spiritual authority. Because quite frankly, that most of that is also based on the old system, and you will not understand it until you have completely fallen to your knees and been lightning bolted by the grace of the divine in itself, that you are not able to do your work anymore.
Yeah,
I truly believe that, because when I feel through that, through various different vibrational channels, I'm like, well, everybody has their own journey, sure, right, but I just can't see a way how it, and this is the grace and surrender that is being asked of humanity at the moment. But it's so difficult because there's still so much attachment to my boyfriend, my books, my career, my house, my whatever it is.
Yeah. And
it's very challenging.
Yeah, and there's something else that comes up. I haven't told you about this. I saw a video online the other day of a false prophet in the Middle East. And they said this would happen, didn't they? They said that there would be many false prophets before the true prophet showed himself.
Right.
Or herself. Or themselves.
Or multiple selves.
Exactly, yeah. The second coming is more than one.
Yeah.
And
but there's still a whole load of people, I can see them now in my mind's eye. It's like there's this whole load of like this race of false prophets, and it's like it's like there's been this like cosmic gun set off, let's say, of like the 2020 or the 2012, and it's like the spiritual thing, like everybody's like trying to get on the bandwagon, and it's like the start guns go off, and it's like all these oh, this would make a great parody. All these prophets are like running around the track trying to win the race. Like, who's going to win the race?
Yeah.
But the point is
The
to
race
get
is already
off the
finished.
freaking track, get off that loop. Is to get off that loop in itself. And until I, like I always say, okay, in my spiritual journey, yes, I had that big boom come in. Yeah, I did. It was through radical, traumatic event. I honestly don't know how it would happen any other way.
Well, it happened differently for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's been happening through grief, which was linked to an ancient traumatic event. So you could say it does happen through trauma. Yours was a bit more severe because yours was like a build-up which affected your nervous system, and you had a nervous breakthrough.
It was also a really big call
breakup.
a really big call to assume the initiation that had happened several years before.
Oh yeah, your shamanic initiation. Yeah. I also want to talk about anger, divine rage. There are war crimes being committed in plain sight at the moment. Bill Gates. There's numerous names and loads of hidden names.
I thought it'd be good to call him Bob Gates, actually, just so he doesn't get picked up on their silly AI systems.
It's irrelevant.
Okay.
It's really irrelevant. This is what free speech is about, Hazel.
Right, sorry.
To not censor yourself.
Yeah, I do fall prey to that. I do apologise
so
myself.
this relates to anger, right?
Right.
Why aren't you angry about that? And this goes out to the audience. Why aren't you angry about that? Why aren't you angry about what they're doing to our skies? What happened to the sunshine? It wasn't like this when we were growing up. Global warming is a complete nonsense lie to cover up what they're doing. We're going through cycle at the moment, but it doesn't mean that what they're doing to the sky is part of that. Why aren't we angry? Okay,
this is a great question. Let's talk into that, because there is a really big hijacking on this very
suppression of anger.
Yeah, this very strong emotion, which is needed to fuel the passion to create the new reality.
Passion.
Yeah. I remember when I was having my breakdown, I won't mention who I spoke to, but I spoke to somebody close to me, and I was being very passionate and very, I was speaking into some very strong things. And this person said, well, there's no need to get angry. And I was like, are you kidding me? There's absolutely every need to get angry right now.
Yeah.
And there is a really big, and this is part of the matriarchy that comes along and goes, oh, no, darling, everything's okay. Or, turn a blind eye, everything's okay. Don't worry, it'll wash over. It'll come good. And actually, how well has that actually worked for you?
Yeah. And this, what always comes up for me is the 7 deadly sins, right? Anger is the antidote to the sin of wrath, right? Because anger is a pure emotion. Wrath is destruction, right? And there's something about this in the prophecy. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm going to find out. Pandora's box, right? And Pandora is another name for Earth or Gaia. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I know, because it's shown in that movie Avatar. The planet's called Pandora.
Yeah,
right. It's in plain sight. All the coding's there, right?
Yeah.
And this, what I feel like is there's this blanket of dogma over the world that creates this comfortability, which we're trying to crack through. And the anger is being suppressed. All of these higher emotions are being suppressed by making us feel guilty. And this links to, I don't want to go into this too much, but toxic matriarchy, because we've done so much on the patriarchy, but the matriarchy is very invisible, and it focuses a lot on self-righteousness and guilt, the guilt of making the wrong choices. And this is very much related. It's very invisible. It sits behind the scenes. It's like the puppet master of the toxic patriarchy, because the toxic patriarchy thinks it's in leadership, but it's also being controlled, because it all eats itself, and that's what's happening. It's falling apart. But I want to go on to something a bit more positive, and I know you're going to love this next topic. Is the gene keys and the rainbow body. We're all about rainbows, and the rainbow prophecy is about unlocking the divine body, the colors, the rainbow colors through the chakras, and uniting the chakras below in the earth and the chakras above in the sky. uniting heaven and earth here on earth through divine union, which has never been done before. Because as I wrote, the true story of divine union, I haven't told you this because I channeled it the other day. The true story of divine union is about the game of love between God and the goddess, how they separated and designed the game so that one day they would find themselves together again. And this is what you and I are doing. We're embodying that story. It's so profound and it's so big, but it can't be grasped with the mind again.
Yeah.
It has to be through vibration. And I want people to know that I'm putting up this video, right, on Prophecy Walkers, where Hazel and I were in ceremony and Patrick Swayze came in, right? And the other night, right, I'm going to link all this up. It's such a great story.
Yeah.
The other night we watched Point Break, because in the video I say, you know, it's the best movie that I've ever seen that symbolizes true brotherhood, because it's about dark and light and how they accept each other for their differences. It's incredible. And when I started my spiritual journey in 2019, I had ayahuasca, and I had many visions, and most of those visions have come true. Some of them were prophetic, most were metaphorical, but most of them were prophetic. And I've never had that with any other medicine. And one of the prophecies I had was that I met up with Keanu Reeves.
Keanu, if you're listening.
So if anybody's listening, please get this story to Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves, do you feel our vibration?
Because I know he's enlightened. I know he is. I know he's had an awakening.
Yeah, you can feel it. You can feel the vibration. Come back to that again.
Yeah, but you can also see it in his behaviour. And he went through, his awakening would have happened through suffering as well. I know he went through an enormous amount of suffering. And what we're trying to do is Hazel even wrote to Richard Rudd, we're trying to help people understand that the old way is over and that redemption and salvation is here now for everyone. And we're saying that we're leading the way through love, through this game of love, through divine union, in tandem, together, divine union with brother and sister, mother and father, girlfriend and boyfriend. You know, we're doing it female and masculine, friends, true friends. We're doing it through the archetypes of love. What we're saying is there's no separation between us. We're even brothers and sisters to each other as well as sisters and brothers. You know? We're sons and daughters to each other as well. This is how deep the love gets, and this is about healing the wound of separation. This is what has been trying to happen for generations and generations and generations, going back God knows how long. And they've tried to stop it. They've tried to sabotage it, but the time is now. We want people to rise. We want people to rise. We want people to feel. We want people to go inside of themselves. You know, we've been told many times that there's another lockdown coming, right? People are going to have to go inside this time like we did.
Yeah.
And there'll be more this time.
The true lockdown is get inside and don't come out until you're ready.
Yeah! Yeah, right?
I mean, that's what I did in the first one. I couldn't believe it that everybody was so distracted by what was going on in the outside world. I mean, I was gifted by a radical breakdown, true, you know, but it was me ultimately who decided to go inside. And that is the ultimate responsibility, taking responsibility for your life. Taking responsibility for your life when you understand and you have turned the tables in this dimension of which I'm talking about, which is the new earth we're moving into. When you truly take responsibility for your life, it no longer has anything to do with any material gain. There is no power over, there is no money, and there is no sexual force of desire. Everything gets shifted in that perspective. And this is what we're working through. This is true divine union, where you come into the vortex of creation, whereas everything else is in the vortex of destruction.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to understand that with the logical mind, because you're like, well, everybody needs, money, and how do you do that? And well, vast amounts of sacrifice. What can I say? Please hit the donation button and donate to us so that we can continue our work. But there becomes a whole different perspective. And I think it's so powerful what you're saying about this divine union, because we go beyond what we have together, just goes beyond, even goes beyond the word relationship, you know.
We actually have a membership option on Property Walkers. You haven't seen it, have you?
Oh, do we?
Yeah. Become a member.
Become a member, and we're going to open
really
up our community really soon. We just need to figure that out. Like, you would not believe the trials and tribulations that we have to go through on the inner world.
People don't want to hear about that.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah. Let's talk about vibration.
Yeah. You were saying some really good things.
I want to talk about the bat. So my latest podcast about the bat, I've been trying to make it happen, and it's been near impossible.
Yeah.
And it's been hilarious, right? Because
it's been
the bat is about going into the underworld.
Yeah.
Like a bat out of hell, right? And I had this vision months ago.
It's really been
funny, but it's not been funny at all. Every Thursday I used to go to this cafe so that I could channel the animals that wanted to come through for my podcast. And it's not until I got to the bat that I realized that the messages and stories that wanted to come through are so much more profound than what I've been channeling, and it's really upset me. But what happened was, before I started channeling the bat, I got this message that my bat was linked to the hounds of hell, the hound of the three-headed hound, Cerberus. And I have in my journey, a lot of links back to Greek mythology and stories around gods and goddesses. And the story of Cerberus is that Hades would give him a cake so that he could enter into the underworld, right? And when I was drawing Cerberus, I think I asked the question, what cake would you like, right? Do you remember? And I heard cheesecake. And we never thought anything of it because I've got intolerance to dairy. So I was like, well, I'm not making a cheesecake of all the cakes he could choose. Right. And then forward 6 weeks or 2 months later, completely forgotten about all of that. It comes to episode 20 and I'm trying to channel the bat. And it was the day before the bank holiday, the Good Friday, right? So it was really busy, but I had no idea because I just don't pay attention to any of that stuff. And I'm sat in this, go to my normal spot in the cafe.
No, let me tell you what happened in the morning first. So in the morning, we had a channeling with one of our spirit guides. You came into my bedroom before we were about to leave, and the spirit guide said, I want to give you like a sticker today with a piece of golden pink cake on it.
Yeah.
And so from our spirit guide, you received that gift of the golden pink cake, and then you went into the town.
Right. So then I went into town, and I went to my normal cafe, and it was full. So I was quite angry about that because it was really early in the morning, and it shouldn't have been busy. But I didn't realise everybody had chosen to be on holiday, and so I noticed on my walk to the cafe that there was this other cafe that I'd never been in. It looked all right, and I saw these two people sat in the window that for some reason had this really nice energy, right? And this is where it gets really funny. So I walked into this cafe, and they weren't selling any food, just drinks. So I bought a drink, and I sat down, and I was really like taken back by this young couple sat on my left by the window, and they were studying their exams. They each had a laptop, and they just had their head down. Their energy did not fit into where we live. Like the energy of that village that I went to, that town, is really like low energy. But these two people were just, it's obvious they weren't from there. It was really weird. And I was finding it really difficult to channel the bat, and I was getting a bit frustrated. And then this couple, I don't know if they were together or not. They could have been brother and sister or just friends. They stood up and they went to pay their bill, but I realised you don't pay a bill, you pay up front. But I didn't pay any attention to that. But afterwards, it made sense. Anyway, they left, and then the waitress came up to me and goes, "Here's a cake for you." I didn't order a cake. And she goes, "Yeah, that guy who was sat there, bought a cake for you. And I went, what? Why did he do that? She goes, he thought you looked stressed. And it was a cheesecake. It was a cheesecake. And it was pink and yellow. I've got a photo of it, and it was delicious. And I was really freaked out. I was like, what is going? Like, linking it to Cerberus immediately. And then they left, and their energy was so divine. We did a channeling later with one of our GFL guides, and he said they sent a couple of angels down because I wasn't supposed to be there. And I was like, that makes so much sense.
Because you didn't want to go that day either, did you?
It makes so much sense because their energy was really angelic, right? But after they left, this woman came and sat there, and it was really toxic, and it felt like I got energetically attacked. And because I was so in such a low energy already, it had a really profoundly toxic effect on me. And so it's now, what is it? That was last Thursday. It's been over a week, and I still haven't been able to channel the podcast because I've had to completely surrender and go through this process of death, which is what the podcast is about. But the bat is about redemption for the masculine, and for the feminine, it's about salvation. But it's all about vibration, vibration.
La vibration.
Yeah. So and denial. And I started channeling this incredible stuff about denial, which is what we were talking about earlier about the game of love. How God's shadow was created through denial, which is a whole other story. But what's going through the collective, what we're going through as well, is this energy of redemption. And it's really profound. And what's happening is that everybody is calling out for a savior, for salvation, for redemption. They don't realize it's here.
Inside themselves.
Yeah, but also outside. Everybody's denying it. And this is what I'm finding difficult. There's this collective ego where the head just needs to go pop and burst. And that's what's going to happen. And that's going to be the falling of the veil, the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil. And all of a sudden, I don't know if it's going to happen gradually or all of a sudden, but I know it's started happening because I've felt it, is people are going to be exposed to their choices that they've made. Yeah. They're going to be exposed to how they feel. And, it's not all about exposure of politics and greed and crime and everything that's happening. It's about the inner exposure. It's about the light coming in.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why they're trying to block the sunlight out. It's really symbolic of that. That's
why I'm angry about
that. Yeah, because that's helping, and ultimately it is the light from within, but the sunlight is helping with the coding of the sunlight. Actually, just a little side note here regarding the sunlight. When I was meditating this morning, I was staring at a candle rather intently, more than I'd ever done in a while. And I realised actually there is very strong, even if you look at this candle now, there's very strong sunlight energy in that yellow that's there. So even if you're having a bad day, you can tune into that vibration of that light, of that flame of that candle. So I've just gone off a little bit there on that tangent, but it's this light here.
We're talking about the bat and the vibration. Remember, there's a bat goddess in Moana, and you had your bat come to you the other night.
Yeah. So and what I'm also getting a lot at the moment is this forgiveness, taking myself through new portals of purification, because it seems never ending. And this is one of the powerful things about learning how to live and be and surrender to ceremonial life, is that you get golden teachings in how to manage yourself through these portals. And if you are not already aware of ceremonial process and how to integrate that and live by those divine rules of nature, get in touch with us. We can share with you how it works, because the same coding that works through ceremony, and this is why we live a ceremonial life, not through choice actually, but it is a choice at the beginning, but then it just really becomes a devotion.
Yeah, it becomes animism.
Yeah, is that through that I also, even though well, who knows how far everyone's on their journey, but let's say after quite some radical journeying, I'm still going through cleansing process. And particularly because you come into a vibrational field where you can feel all the collective energy. Yes, through my innate awakening, I feel that grief of that loss of my innate tribe. Yes, it goes all the way back there. And that collective energy is also felt in the collective right now. And so, and then bringing that together into myself and my cleaning process, and it's forgiveness. There's greater levels of forgiveness being
Yeah.
mastered at the moment.
Yeah, I'm a bit captivated. There's a turtle dove on the bird feeder.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
oh yeah, I read. Oh, I read somewhere yesterday or the day before that um, when everything was changing, there was signs from the universe. There was a dove, and there was a rainbow or something. I think there was like,
Right, rainbow body. Right,
yeah.
let's come back to that. Right, I want you to talk more into gene keys because you've become a bit of an expert in it. So I'm just going to relate this for you so that you can talk about it. But if you haven't heard about the gene keys, it's a book written by Richard Rudd in 2011, 2012 about how the human is made and how they will eventually ascend. But he talks about it like it's in the future, and Hazel's like, no, it's happened. It's happening now. And she has realized that her soul prophecy oracle, which has 66 cards, has the additional two gene keys, and she's realized that through her art that her actual soul prophecy oracle cards link up to the gene keys. It's absolutely wild and incredible. That's why I say on my channel, her soul prophecy oracle deck is the next level. It's the one above the Thoth deck. It's the new paradigm. It's the new paradigm tarot deck, and that's why it's taken us so long to do. I mean, it's been over 13 years now. You always used to say it take 13 years, but we're in 2025 now. When did you start it?
Yeah, 2012, I think.
Oh, so it's still 13 years. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, it started before.
So the gene keys is when we read them, we're absorbing the wisdom and realizing that we're really close to unlocking the cities for a lot of them. And I want you to talk more into that.
Sure, yeah. Well, again, it's about vibration, and this is obviously one of the themes, the strong themes that's weaving through everything in this podcast. Is that just a couple of weeks ago, a beautiful woman who we're both working with at the moment, for her own personal journey, she introduced the gene keys. So this is just a few weeks ago. And bear in mind, I've already finished my oracle, right? And so I looked them up and I looked my chart up, and I'm pretty much blown away by my chart because it describes what I have been through in my awakening. And it was not so much as a map in order to get there, it was more like a mirror of what I had experienced, I've already been through. And I think that was part of the most mind-blowing thing for me, was because it was like this confirmation that that kind of gave sense in a way to what had been happening during my breakdown and, you know, internal apocalypse and revelation, etc. And I think one of the things as well is, so I won't mention all of my numbers, but my life work is the 22, which is the sacred feminine, the divine feminine. And I've had a massive purification in order to get to that point. And this is why I'm so frustrated about all of the fake stuff that's out there, because when you really go through the portals and you understand what the true divine feminine is, you can really see everywhere where it's not. And yes, it's the purity of love. Yes, and that is incredible, and it's graciousness. Yes. And she's not like this holy woman who's just floating in the sky. She's radical. Like she's
Like Lilith.
Yeah, she's like, she's Adam, she's Eve and Lilith, like in their purest forms, like melted into one.
Yeah.
And so that first of all was incredible, but then also I discovered that I had the 55th gene key in relationships. I was like, whoa, this explains such a lot. Because when I had my breakdown, I was shown through spirit what love was, the breakdown of all the relationships and why they don't work, and why people are fixated on desire, and how that is a force of destruction rather than a force of creation. And that's why nobody can meet each other ever in relationships. So forget your dating, forget your desires, forget any wish lists. It doesn't work like that. If you are looking, and if you know that you sense this recognition of that your divine counterpart is out there somewhere, you have to follow that vibration and not follow the desire.
Yeah, I just did a video called How to Prepare for Healthy Love, how to call in healthy love, and I say that.
Yeah.
A wish list it's not going to happen.
No. So
it's going to be greater than that.
Yeah. So if you are going into this whole realm of I don't know, dating arenas or whatever, like, you please know that you are going to go back in for another round in some way or another of the old karmic patterns. And the way to break out of that is to stop. And this is another one of my master codings, is the stop codons. Stop.
Yeah.
And I've got that running through, purifying my whole lineage in my gene key codes. It's almost, well, this is part of the comedy tragedy. I've also got that one as well, how to embrace comedy tragedy, because the emotional tragedy of life, where there comes a point where you just have to laugh at it because you can't go any further with it. So what I wanted to say about this awakening of the relationships, it's in my DNA and I felt it. And that is part of one of the core structures that I have been guided through in creating my oracle deck. And so my oracle deck is really like, in a way, like, dare I say it, it's the kind of the codex, in particularly for women, but when men start working with women, it's so valuable for them too. I mean, you found my oracle deck really profoundly valuable. I know that.
Yeah, it's got the coding for the new human in it.
Yeah, exactly. And the oracle is the kind of how to embody these gene keys, how to embody the gifts and the siddhis and the I Ching. It's really, and so I'm looking at the gene keys and this from the other direction, not from, oh, I've got a lot to learn from this. It's like, so when I'm reading it, it's like, well, I read it through vibration, and it just helps me. It's actually helping me come out and talk and be confident about my experience and what I've gone through.
Yeah.
And it's pretty unbelievable. You know, I don't expect people to believe me immediately.
Well, I didn't believe you until I started working with you, did I? Until I put my heart on yours, which I just spoke about in my last video. Is I had this judgment that when women talk about connecting to the universe, that they were just being airy-fairy and just talking nonsense. And then you said, "Well, I can't tell you in words what it is. I have to show you." And I was really apprehensive about that because it really showed my fear towards feminine and towards love. Because you said, "Just connect, just put your heart on my heart," and it changed my life forever. You know, my jaw hit the floor, and I saw why we're here, why we're so important, and how insignificant all the lies I had bought. You know, I was laughing, wasn't I, for about 10 minutes afterwards. And you were like, "Why are you laughing?" And I couldn't stop laughing. I was rolling around. My jaw was hurting. My throat was hurting. My stomach muscles were hurting. So I was laughing so much. And I managed to get the words out. And I said, "I've got a job." And I was laughing because I just had this profound realization. And the first thought that came in my head afterwards was, "Oh, I better check my laptop to see if my boss has noticed I'm not at my desk."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I used to put myself in fake meetings so I looked like I was busy.
Yeah, gosh.
I wasn't even supposed to be in
so
another country. It was
ridiculous.
quite funny.
Yeah, beautiful.
So
That's
profound,
amazing, yeah. So what I want to say, right, is it's so brilliant that you're connecting this with the gene keys, the siddhis, the illumination, and the activation of this lifestyle, right, where you're living the gifts and beyond, and us putting our hearts on each other and experiencing that free of desire, because we were just friends then, free of desire, free of need, free of any attachment.
Yeah.
And this is how pure it is. This is how pure divine union is. And this unlocks each other. When I did that to you, it unlocked the reality that having a job is completely ridiculous.
Complete lie.
Yeah, a complete lie. And this is one of the powerful ways of working to each other. This is true. This is the beginning path of the true divine union, because we unlock each other. And so we have our, I can't remember what they are, like those maps, the gene key maps, and you have your numbers, right? But we are also sharing keys. My 55 is working with your 28
Exactly,
immortality.
and this is why you can't do it with the same sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, and this is why we are unlocking each other through this. And you can't do it logically. You can't sit down there with your map and the other person's map. You have to go through it almost blindfolded inside, listening to spirit on how are you going to do this. And this is why I always say, yeah, okay, the gene keys is there, it's great, but it's still a method. Don't attach to it. Listen to it, read it, let it come in, forget about it.
Yeah.
See how it comes through when you start working devotionally with nothing. No tantra, no biodanza, no yoga, no methods, no religion, no gene keys, just you and spirit and the earth. And how do you work there?
Yeah.
And then, I'm going to let you speak in a minute, but this is like passion rising. Then when you meet your divine counterpart and you know that there's a soul vibration happening between you. This is like when I met you, I was like, who the frickety frick is that man opposite me? And letting go of, oh, I fancy him, and letting go of that desire, and who is he, and maybe there's going to be something more. Letting go, sitting there with this other being, this opposite sex, this man in front of me, going, there's something else available here, there's something else, and starting to unlock each other and sharing the keys. And I will say as well, this is why you cannot sit down in a partnership and go, oh, well, this is my gene keys, and oh, look, here's my gene keys, I printed it out, isn't that lovely? You cannot do it like that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're trying to control it and rationalize it and make it logical. And this is where the trust comes in. This is where the great trust of can you open your arms, a bit like in Point Break again. Thank you, Patrick. The free fall out of the aeroplane. Can you free fall out of the aeroplane without a parachute, right? And trust that you're going to make it.
He did that.
Yeah.
He did that himself. That was his own stunt.
Yeah. Incredible, right?
Yeah.
And this is part of the keys to unlocking each other, because at that moment they both needed to pull the same key and fly together to safety. And that's what we are doing. That in itself is part of the essence of divine union. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will have to take the journey to understand that when you come to true divine union, it's going to smash your reality apart, and you're going to go, oh, I thought that that's what it was about. And you're going to realize you don't know what it's about at all. And I can speak so passionately about this because this is part of my 3 months before I even met you, my 3 months of washing machine, daily dying and being reborn every day.
Yeah.
These are the vibrational codes of love.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on, you spoke about methods, using different methods, and this is a big one, right? What I realised...
Oh, it really riles me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tear it apart now to help people understand.
Hallelujah.
I'm going to help people understand why you should never attach to a method. Methods are something we glean from. So somebody created that method and they created that method through their own journey, right? So everybody creates a method, but what we're doing is our method evolves every day, but we have a journey, and we're on our own journey, and everybody's on the same journey, but we're unlocking. We all have different stories, and we're unlocking those different methods. And it's like when I always say this, when I read so many self-help books, sometimes several hundred pages long, and afterwards someone would say, well, what did you take from that book? And it would just be one thing. I had to read the whole book to get that one thing, right?
Yeah.
And like you take, for example, access consciousness. We know so many people who became attached to that method, but it's there's a lot of hidden distortion in it, a lot. And what happens is the ego is designed to push you towards attachment. And as soon as you attach to something, you are becoming friends of your ego. And everybody knows how I feel about that.
Yeah.
The ego is not your friend. If you're becoming friends to your ego, you're becoming friends with attachment, because the ego is designed to prevent you moving forward. It's designed to prevent you from growing. It's designed to prevent you from evolving.
Yeah.
It's designed to prevent you from being love. And it creates stagnation, because it is the definition of narcissistic abuse and behavior.
Yeah.
It doesn't grow.
Yeah.
It just consumes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow you to grow. So if you're attaching to any method, you're wasting time.
Yeah. And you're actually self-exposing yourself of your own limitations. Because if you proclaim to be a specialist in any method, you are proclaiming your own limitations.
And might I add, grandiosity, because grandiosity leads to preaching. And grandiosity is a form of, I've gotten to this level of knowledge. I feel confident in this because people are listening to me. So I'm going to shout from the rooftops of what I know.
Yeah.
And that is preaching.
Yeah. So let's declare, we know nothing.
Yeah.
We know nothing.
But we feel everything.
Yeah.
We know nothing, but we feel everything.
You know,
and we know everything, because that was one of the messages we got, wasn't it, from God? We're having this conversation with God, and he's like, you already know everything. You didn't come here to learn, you came here to create.
Yeah. It's one of the most powerful teachings that I've had from a real shaman, a real Inuit shaman, who also says, you know, don't call yourself shaman, which I think is brilliant. And I'm so honored to have had teachings from this incredible man. And this is it. One of his greatest teachings there on his drum was singing the song, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't know that I don't know, and I don't know, and I don't know. And it was such a profound song to be listening to, purification song. So I just really want to heartfelt thank you for that incredible teaching. And and I've just written down I Ching here as well.
Oh yeah, ka-ching.
Yeah, because
the I Ching song. My favourite.
Yeah. What we've done with the I Ching is Alistair bought the book and we've started reading it, but
we found
not
another
really
way of
studied
unlocking the wisdom.
Yeah, and this is one of the amazing things that happens when you unlock your innate intelligence. All you need is the book itself, because that book will hold a vibration, and when you work ceremonially with it, that vibration comes through to you,
which links full circle back to Keanu Reeves.
This podcast is turning out better than I thought it would. It's great.
Do you understand how it comes back to Keanu Reeves?
No, tell me.
Right, because he gets downloads and he immediately embodies it. This is what happens through vibration.
Right.
Right.
Oh, you mean in the Matrix?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
true.
like, I know Kung Fu now. And then Morpheus is like, show me. And that's integration.
Yeah.
Him going and doing it, that's integration.
Yeah. Wow. So the I Ching has also, I haven't read huge amounts of it, but I can say that I can feel the vibration of it.
Oh yeah, it's great.
And it's really, really incredible.
Yeah.
And feeling it as a whole, feeling that vortex of creation as a whole, meditating into it, even dancing into it, being in ceremony with that energy, just that sacred book in itself is a vibration. And yeah, that's one of the gifts of unlocking the innate consciousness.
Yeah. So we're talking about myself because it happens just unknowingly. I started expressing the vibration of the I Ching through my comedy, and it apparently the vibration of the I Ching has a lot of comedy in it because it's incredible, and I realized it's like it's the door to heaven. It's like the gates of heaven. The I Ching. That's how I see it. And when you knock on the door, it opens up. How do I say this? It opens up who you truly are on different levels.
Yeah.
And when you realize that you are not just one person, that you are multiple realities, you are multidimensional, it's so much fun. So much fun because you can channel divine comedy, you can channel divine wisdom, you can channel spirit animals, you can receive gifts, you can speak to the gods and the goddesses, you can travel through the Akash, you can teleport to Antarctica and see that everything people have been conspiracizing about is true and that they are actually hiding something there.
Yeah. And even it translates down to, I've started talking about doing my workouts in the morning. It even translates to that.
Grounded stuff.
Workouts in the morning, being guided by spirit, which songs to play, because it's going to activate and crack you open. So you have to play the songs that come to you from spirit. And then spirit's been guiding me, like I've been seeing, okay, I have to do these moves. Like I'm in training at the moment for doing those, what do you call them, the burpees, the star jump things. It's like, that's what spirit wants me to be in training for. Now it seems ridiculous. And this is why I can't go to a gym anymore, because it's just like, I'm summoning this innate consciousness. I'm summoning this unlocking of the codex in the everyday life. And this I Ching that you're talking about, and this unlocking with the dark and the light, and this fusion together, this is the wholeness. Yeah, the yin yang.
Opening up the rainbow body.
Yeah, the yin yang opens the rainbow body. Because when you come into that harmony, and this is why working in divine union with your divine counterpart, not just some other person you found on a street or in a chanta retreat, your actual divine counterpart, you truly unlock the coding. Otherwise, it's just stealing. Like methods is kind of like stealing a bit of knowledge to hope you get so far. It's not going to work. It's not going to work in the long run. And this is, like, everything will only get you so far. And yes, it's useful, but there will come a point where you have to let go of it all. And when you come into this divine union with yourself, and the dark meets the light, and you can see it happening in your body. This is also what spirit shows me in the morning when I'm dancing. And then it unlocks, and the rainbow body opens. And through that rainbow body opening, through the black and the white unification, all the colors stream through you. And this is where, your work, you're such a master in bringing animal wisdom in, like the reclamation of the living and a life of animism. This is awoken, like truly. I can feel it as I'm speaking. I'm like fully activating. It's like I've just opened up my whole body. And there's gifts and there's teachings in every color.
Yeah, I want to just touch on animal wisdom. I hope people are listening to this part, that people don't understand that they are the animals. So when you see your spirit animal and you feel that love for that animal, reverse it, turn it around. It's you. You're looking at you. You're feeling you. And this is what people don't understand about the profundity of spirit animal wisdom, is that you are unlocking parts of yourself. It's like, for me, it's advanced gene key work. It goes beyond the gene keys.
Yeah.
For me, it's multidimensional.
Yeah.
It's like the archetypes. Go on, sorry.
And this is what comes back to what you said at the beginning. We're starting to come full circle on this podcast.
Keanu Reeves.
Because you said right at the beginning about psychology and the psyche.
Yeah.
And what you're saying right now is that you are mirroring, you are seeing yourself mirrored through every part of nature. And this is the mirror of the soul.
Right.
Knowing this oneness, like I can see and feel and
The
sense
pure mirror.
Yeah.
And
this is why your connection to oneness goes beyond sitting on a cushion and doing your meditation and not being in life.
Right.
This comes into full creation, activated, new, sacred, human, living, breathing, and co-creating with life into this new earth.
So I'm just going to say something really profound now because you've inspired me, right?
Yeah.
So the vision I got was of the front cover of the famous book Metamorphosis, which is the famous painting of Narcissus looking into the lake, right? And I did a video on my channel with a picture of me looking into the lake opposite Narcissus, one light, one dark, right? And what it is there's this mistranslation which I haven't spoke about actually, but I have written about how him looking into his reflection that's not narcissism. He's looking at the purity of his mirror. He's trying to find himself
in the depths.
Yeah, in the darkness.
The dark. You see, this is what I say. You have to go into the water.
Yeah, but I haven't finished. So I got a message from Spirit is that I was chosen for my journey for myself because I was able to stare into the abyss and know that I would come back. And this is what the bat's about. Full circle again. Keanu! And the problem with the story of Narcissus is that he didn't come back. And that's the danger.
Yeah.
Right? He stared into the abyss of who he was and he couldn't accept the amount of love that he was.
Yeah.
But can you see that's the antidote to narcissism?
Yeah.
Is to accept who you truly are in the purity of your mirror because you are God. Mic drop.
Hallelujah.
We should end on that.
Yeah.
Reach out to Keanu for us, please. Tell him Patrick's still here. And he's golden.
Yeah, he is golden.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Patrick, for coming in.
Yeah.
I love it when the pure celebrity souls come in.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
None was funnier than George Michael.
Oh, George.
We love George so much.
Channeling George Michael.
I made George piss his pants, didn't I?
Yeah. He was just like sitting in the corner of the room, like rolling in laughter at us, like laughing at us.
Yeah, oh classic. God. We recorded that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you can see our stories are very, very rich, and turning tragedy into comedy, coming into the holiness of the yin yang.
And if you're still sticking around, if you're still listening, which I really hope you are, support us. We really need your support.
Yeah.
Rise.
Yes.
Arise.
Please. Yeah. Yes, please.
Come back to life.
Yes.
Solo leveling.
Yeah. Get in touch with us if you are feeling the vibe and don't know where to go next and are ready to take the leap of faith into the beyond. Yeah. Then just get in touch with us.
Yeah. We're helping people make quantum leaps in weeks instead of years.
Yeah.
Because we've been through it. So work with us.
Yeah. Do that. And feel free to drop a donation. Always welcome. Lots of love to you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And keep tuning in. Keep tuning in. Lots of love.
Bye-bye.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe, like.